So today I'm going to be ranking all these Soulcalibur games. Now the Soulcalibur games are my favourite fighting game franchise of all time. I grew up with this franchise. I've played them from the very first one all the way up to number 6. Even the PSP games like Broken Destiny and stuff. It's my favourite fighting game franchise. And I grew up with this franchise. I love this franchise. And I thought, what a way to kick off my first video than put these Soulcalibur games into a tier list. Now I will be doing tier lists and ranking videos on shows, more games, TV shows, because I want to start doing tier lists and rankings, and then eventually I might start going into gameplay videos and stuff like that. But for now, for my first ever video, I want to rank these Soulcalibur games all the way from number 1 to 6, including the PSP games. And so let's get started. So S tier is a masterpiece, flawless. A tier is amazing. B tier is great. C tier is good. D tier is okay. E tier is bad. And F tier is atrocious. It's an abomination. It's terrible. So let's begin the ranking. So first up, we have Soulcalibur 1. I'm going to put this in E tier, bad. Now, a lot of you will be screaming at me in the comments saying, oh, it's the first Soulcalibur game ever made. Listen, as I said before, this is my favourite fighting game franchise. But even I have to tell you right now, I never got into Soulcalibur until Soulcalibur 2. Soulcalibur 1 was really, really bad. The controls, the fighting was clunky. Just everything about this game, it did not feel good at all. I get it, it kicked off the best fighting game franchise in my opinion. But as a game itself, Soulcalibur 1 was not good. It wasn't atrocious, but it wasn't good either. And I'm not going to let the fact that it's the first one in the franchise deter me from speaking the truth and saying that this game has clunky combat and it's just not a fun game to play. Coming up next, we have Soulcalibur 2. Easy A tier. I never liked Soulcalibur 1. When number 2 came out, that's what brought me into this franchise. Soulcalibur 2 was absolutely amazing. The fluid combat system, you know, the uniqueness of bringing existing characters like the Link. Even though I'm not a fan of the Zelda games, I liked the fact that they were adding, you know, popular IPs into the game, which was just the start. And then you get to number 4 with it at Darth Vader and stuff. Soulcalibur 2 is loved by fans of Soulcalibur for a reason. The combat was very, very fast-paced. Probably the fastest Soulcalibur game that they've ever released. It was really fast-paced, really fluid. You know, I think Soulcalibur is also an easy game to pick up and play. It's quite easy to learn the combos. But make no mistake, Soulcalibur 2 does require very fast thinking with how fast paced it is, and Soulcalibur 2 is loved for a reason, and it is just an amazing game. I'd probably say it's my 3rd favourite Soulcalibur game, but there are 2 more that I prefer above it, but Soulcalibur 2 is going in the A tier. Following from Soulcalibur 2, we have Soulcalibur 3. Now this game was a step down from Soulcalibur 2, but I really liked Soulcalibur 3. It was more of a story-focused game where you could, you know, purchase weapons and stuff for your characters. Each character kind of had their own story. I thought Zazimo was a pretty good, cool villain, and then he turned into Inferno. I like the story, and that each character has, you know, their own goal. Like, you know, Maxi's hunting. I can never pronounce his name. The big guy with the big guy with the axe. He's like a demonic guy. I can never. Astaroth. That's it. But Soulcalibur 3. Was it a step down from Soulcalibur 2? Yes, but it was still a really good game. The combat was very fluid, and the combat was just it was still good. It was not as fast as Soulcalibur 2, but the combat was still really good. It's what you expect from a Soulcalibur game. I liked Soulcalibur 3. I get that, you know, it was more of a story-focused game, and you had, you know, you could purchase different weapons, and a lot of people really, you know, tried to compare it to number 2, and I think that's unfair because number 2 is an amazing game, but number 3 is equally as good. Not better, but I still love number 3, and it's going in the B tier. Now, Soulcalibur 4. This is my favorite fighting game of all time. It's my favorite Soulcalibur game. The gameplay, I will agree, it was a bit slow, but I did not mind it. Unlike other slow fighting games, it didn't feel clunky, and it didn't feel as if, you know, the slow combat was kind of, you know, letting the game down. I loved the more slow strategic combat of the game. You know, I loved a lot of the new features they added, such as, you know, the tower, where you can fight a bunch of, you know, custom characters as well, which was really cool. You had Algo, the introduction of Algo, who was a really cool character, and then you obviously had probably the best thing about the game, probably the best IP character, is in Darth Vader. Darth Vader was really overpowered in this game, and also Starkiller was even more overpowered. Trying to defeat Starkiller in arcade mode and unlock him was so hard. It was so satisfying to actually defeat Starkiller because of how difficult he was. And when you unlocked him, you realize why it was so hard to fight. He was a really good character. And then if you had the Xbox version of the game, you had Yoda, who was also really good. Was he kind of unfair because he was small? Yes, which a lot of people have problems with Yoda, but I still thought he was a pretty cool character to players in the game. You know, I think the character customization in this game is probably my favorite character customization. It really took character customization in these games to an all-time high. And one thing I used to do on this game a lot is the online mode. I love the online mode. I was going inside of online matches every day, just, you know, increasing my skill. You know, I started off as obviously not a really good player because of the type of gameplay that Soulcalibur 4 switched it to, but then I got used to it, and I really liked the multiplayer in that game, you know, meeting people in the game, and I had so much fun with this game, and yeah, it's the best one. If you haven't played the Soulcalibur game and you own a PS3 or an old console or an Xbox, I would suggest playing number 4, because number 4 is, in my opinion, the best one. Next we have Soulcalibur Broken Destiny. This, as well, was a really good game. It was basically a PSP version of Soulcalibur 4, and I liked Broken Destiny. It was basically the Soulcalibur 4, but on the PSP, which, because it was on the PSP, it did kind of, you know, the combat was still the same, but it was, you know, it wasn't as big and as grand as Soulcalibur 4. You know, there was less stuff in it, obviously, because it's a PSP game. The addition of Kratos was really cool. I thought Kratos really suited the Soulcalibur vibe. And yeah, Broken Destiny, it's a good game. It's not amazing, but I thought Soulcalibur Broken Destiny was a good game, and it was good what I was able to do on the PSP platform, making a Soulcalibur game. I think it worked. But yeah, Soulcalibur Broken Destiny, nothing wrong with it. Good game. Here's where I might get controversial. Soulcalibur 5 is better than number 2. I know what everyone's doing, screaming at me right now. Oh, the new characters they added were bad, then they took away a lot of the good characters. Listen, I get it. I'm a fan of Taki. She's probably my third best character. But the thing is, I didn't like the story mode. I thought the main character, I always forget his name in the story mode, was annoying. He was cringy. The story mode wasn't really good anyway. But I liked the gameplay of these new characters. I liked the guy with the wolf. He could summon a wolf. He was good. I personally liked a lot of the new characters in the game. I liked the combat. It was a bit more faster than number 4. Reminds me of number 2, but not as, you know, fast. I really liked it online. I thought the customization was really, really good as well. You know, it took over from number 4. You know, you had the addition of Ezio Auditore. Not my favourite Assassin's Creed character, but he's a really good character. An iconic character, and I liked his gameplay in number 5 as well. I liked the fact that you could have Devil Jin, which was really cool, as a combat style, like as a weapon. How you could do, you know, punching combos and stuff. I thought that was really, really cool. You could make a lot of interesting characters like that. When I played it back in the day, I made like Batman and stuff like that with, you know, Devil Jin's combat style. The story mode wasn't good, you know, it wasn't good. I like the guy with the wolf. I thought he was really good in the story mode. He took on Nightmare and got stabbed in the back by Sofita. Tara was really good in the story mode, or Tara. I forgot how you pronounce her name. Was really good in the story mode, manipulating Sofita. But I think number 5. I get the hate, but you know, I like this game, and I think it's better than number 2 in my opinion. I know that's going to be a controversial opinion, but bear in mind, this is my favourite fighting game franchise, and someone who's as big of a fighting game franchise, I am telling you right now, this game is not as bad as people say it is. It is a amazing game, and I highly recommend playing it. Don't listen to all those people saying it's bad. Play the game, judge it for yourself. Now, Soulcalibur 6 is the worst Soulcalibur game ever. I hate this game with a passion. It really annoyed me when it came out. Right, the basic combat itself was more fast paced than number 4 and 5. Reminded me of number 2. I had no problem with the gameplay. They brought a lot of the old characters back. I thought Gerald was quite good in the game. The best new addition to the game was probably Grom. I thought he was really cool with his double-bladed sword. I loved his gameplay. The character customization was really good. You know how you can make skeletons and you can make different, you know, species and stuff. That was cool. The one thing that brings this game down is the Soul Edge system. It is just, it is game breaking. It is the one feature that brings this game down. If the Soul Edge feature wasn't in the game, I would love this game even more. The Soul Edge feature was just so unfair, especially with Nightmare. You could just keep spamming his bubble ability where he's, you know, summons a bubble around him and knocks the enemy back. You can just keep spamming loads of Soul Edge attacks, and it is literally broken. It is broken. And you know, you can be in a normal fight and then next minute someone starts doing a Soul Edge, and then, you know, you start getting into that, you know, little injustice type, you know, gamble situation where it's like, oh, who's gonna win the little, you know, mini fight cutscene thing. But yeah, number 6, and then the story, I didn't really think the story was particularly good. It's just saying, because if the Soul Edge system wasn't in the game, there's a lot of stuff going for this game. Gerald was really cool in it. I liked the customization in it. I liked how fast the gameplay was. I liked Grom, who was a new good addition to the game. Literally everything for the game was going for it, but the Soul Edge is so bad, it breaks the entire game. And that's why, actually, you know what, I don't think it's as bad as number 1, because number 1's got more clunky combat. So I'm gonna change that. Soulcalibur 6 isn't the worst Soulcalibur game. It's the second worst Soulcalibur game. And this is coming from someone who loves this franchise. So yeah, I did not like this game at all. So that was all these Soulcalibur games in a tier list. My favourite fighting game franchise of all time. I hold this franchise in such high regards. I'll be making more tier lists and ranking videos very, very soon. But, you know, for the start of my channel, I wanted to start with something simple, you know, just ranking, you know, a lot of franchises and movies and shows that I like. You know, I'll also do some rankings and tier lists of franchise I'm not particularly a fan of, just so you guys can hear my thoughts on them. But yeah, thank you for watching and have a good day. See ya.